Austin, Texas, the Circuit of the Americas, Lone Star Le Mans, round 6 of the 2025 FIA World Endurance Championship. Good morning, everybody, or as they say here, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Texas. We are getting ready for the final free practice session, just a few miles outside of one of the biggest cities in the state. Round 6 of the championship. In 3 weeks' time, we go to Fuji in Japan, on the other side of the planet, and then we round out in Bahrain at the beginning of November. All the championships still up in the air. No clue yet as to who is going to come out on top. Good morning, I'm Martin Haven. In the booth with me, Graham Goodwin and Anthony Davidson. Anthony, looking there at the big tower, where's the crystal blue sky? Where's the 40-degree heat of yesterday gone?
Well, first of all, great to be back here at COTA, a real driver's circuit, one that all the teams and drivers enjoy the challenge of. And yeah, looking up from that tower, they've got a great vantage point. It's a brilliant view from there. You can pretty much see the entire circuit, all 20 corners on this anti-clockwise track we have here. But it's very hot. Don't be fooled by the cloud cover. 29 degrees Celsius ambient, you would have seen on the graphic that we had up on screen. And that, for the drivers especially, is a real challenge physically. But
Graham, is very different because track walk on Thursday, 39.7 degrees. That's quite a lot different.
It was blisteringly warm. Last couple of days, really, really warm. Great thing, though, is I think we're going to get a reasonable crowd here. Lots of great representation of American motorsport here. Cadillac come as obviously as the reigning winners from last time, Corvette and Ford all in, but it's all about this COTA circuit and Davidson.
Yeah, like I said before, one that all the drivers enjoy. 5.5 kilometers, the 20 corners. It's a 6-hour race, so yeah, you're in it for the long haul in this one. We'll look at a few key corners. First up is turn 1, Big Red it's known as. It's a great deceleration uphill into this corner, the biggest elevation change throughout the whole lap of nearly 25 meters. Then you go through the first sector, head into the second sector at turn 11. Can be an overtaking point come Sunday for the race, but in qualifying it's one where you really need to maximize your braking and focus on the exit, because it takes you down towards turn 12 into sector 3. And this long right-hander, triple apex through turn 16 to 18. And you'll see when we ride on board with cars that the drivers really seesawing at the wheel in the Hypercar and the GTs. You'll see overtaken as well. The rubber builds up on the exit of that corner, makes it very hard for the faster cars to overtake the GT cars through there. And here is one of your Le Mans winners, Robert Kubica, driving 83 Ferrari.
The car that won here last year, their first win. Now, you've heard 3 voices in the broadcast so far. Our fourth voice is down in the paddock. Good morning, Shea Adam.
Howdy, gentlemen, and welcome to Texas. It is a quite different day here at Circuit of the Americas than we were expecting, with a significant amount of cloud cover and, dare I say it, rain on the radar. Now, we're not expecting to get wet during this first practice session of the day, but when qualifying rolls around later, things could be very different. I've noticed a lot of drivers not yet in fire suits if they are second or even third in the cars this morning. We've got a lot of people just now reluctantly going to get strapped into their cars, and the worst news for the drivers, the cars will never be cooler than they are right now, because when we get into qualifying a little bit later on this afternoon, there still will be some heat soak from this FP3 session. So right now the first drivers are getting to enjoy the cars at their coolest, and it is a lot cooler than it was yesterday, but it definitely is not cool by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm going to wander around and see what people are saying as far as tire wear is expected to do this morning and how that's going to affect the all-important Hyperpole session this afternoon.
All right, we'll catch up with Shea in a little while. Are we going to see the wet weather tyres out in the LMGT3 and Hypercars, Anthony? They've got one choice of tyre here, Graham, for LMGT3, and that's the new harder tyre for the hot track temperatures.
It's second and only other appearance this year that's planned by Goodyear. Will we see the wets? We might well. There's still wet weather on the horizon. We saw a quick shot a little earlier, by the way, the number 10 Aston Martin, the Racing Spirit Le Mans car. That car's required a rebuild overnight here. There was chassis damage that needed to be fixed. That required the chassis to be bonded. That took time to cure, which means that car did not take part in free practice 2. Will be out this morning after not an all-nighter, but a fair session from the team.
So cars getting ready to head out for the final practice session. This is just 60 minutes long. We had two 90-minute sessions yesterday. Lots of red flags, not just because of the heat, but there are a number of drivers in the field for whom this is a brand new track. And Anthony, it's not maybe the easiest to really find a rhythm in as well.
It's very hard. It's a very hard circuit to find a rhythm around. The biggest problem with this track is that the tyre energies build up so much. And speaking of which, we got the tyre graphics from Michelin's point of view. You got the two compounds, hard and medium. Hard, the red stripe. And will we be using the wet tyre? Oh dear, what's happened to your shoulder? Oh, well, I know someone else with a shoulder injury, standing very close to me.
So second consecutive race here in Austin, Texas for the first time since 2020. The race then, just before COVID, was a very last-minute replacement for what was supposed to be a race in Sao Paulo. And it is due to be a hot race as well. The cloud cover will mean that the track temperatures won't be quite so scorching as they were. And that might mean maybe that we'll see very little hard tyre running. You see the yellow sidewalls here on the Toyotas. Those are the mediums. And Toyota habitually can get away with a softer tyre for longer. It's just the way their chassis works. But I think only two cars even tried a hard in the heat of yesterday. I'm not sure we're going to see any hard tyres at all, really.
Well, like we were saying before the tyre graphic came up, we saw the two different compounds, at least from Michelin. You see the yellow stripes there, that's the medium compound tyre. We won't run the softs here. Michelin only bring in the two compounds. It's only Le Mans where we see all three. So as you look back at Kevin Estre in the number 6 Porsche, tyre energy is a big talking point around this track. It's a bit of an older surface at different points around the circuit, and there's lots of sliding. Every car I've seen so far this weekend, you see the drivers really working at the wheel. The car's moving around, and it's the sliding that causes, with high-speed corners, a lot of energy through the tyre. That, in turn, takes away your grip. As soon as the tyres overheat, you lose a lot of grip, and that's what all the drivers will be facing on this track. So it makes finding a rhythm incredibly hard from inside the car.
You can see the red sidewall on the Goodyear Eagles in LMGT3. That is the hard compound, but there is only ever one compound. Graham, there is a thought, a school of thought certainly, that it might add another little element of interest to LMGT3, maybe to have a slightly different tyre choice, to have a tyre choice maybe even.
Well, it's been an evolving class, hasn't it? And it's been increasing in the level of entertainment we've seen from it as the teams understand more about what is quite a conservative formula for a GT3 car. It's a full endurance formula. Might well be that we see some evolution of that in the seasons to come. We just got a quick glimpse, by the way, of both the 87 Lexus and of the Toyotas. Some changes to report there, and I'm sure listening and watching in from home. Mike Conway, hope you're feeling comfortable, Mike. Mike unfortunately hurt his collarbone in training accidents in the days before we flew out here. He's replaced in the Toyota by Jose Maria Lopez, who's the defined reserve driver for Toyota Gazoo Racing, and in turn that means Jack Hawksworth is now stepped in for the second time this season into the Akodis ASP Lexus team, but in the other car.
Under 1 minute to the start of free practice 3 session, under 1 minute.
Well, if you want to get behind the scenes on all of our races this season, head to the WEC YouTube channel and search for the full access programs. Latest one from Sao Paulo dropped, as the kids don't say any longer, last week. But it's a great opportunity to see what goes on in the teams, in the garages, behind the scenes, before, during and after the race, as well as catch up with some of the live footage.
30 seconds to the start of free practice 3 session.
And if you really have not much else to do, you can, of course, see the full replays of every race this season. I don't know how many of you have watched Le Mans for a second or maybe third time.
15 seconds to the start of the free practice 3 session. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is now open. Pit exit is now open. This is the start of the free practice 3 session.
Free practice 3, the final practice session before the qualifying on Saturday afternoon here at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. As previously, the two Aston Martin Valkyries heading out first. They were actually pretty impressive in terms of pace yesterday, Anthony Davidson, although riding with the drivers on board, it don't come easy.
No, definitely not an easy car to drive yet, but they are making progress, and that's a good thing. It's their first season with this car. It's always difficult for any manufacturer to enter this very competitive championship at this stage now. So, yeah, running on board with the drivers in the Aston Martin. They're working very hard, but they're not alone. There are other drivers out there in well-established teams and cars out there doing exactly the same thing. But one of the reasons I thought yesterday for the Valkyries' upturning performance is that they are the first ones out there every time in practice sessions. So that gives them a clear circuit.
Okay, mate, so the track is 35 degrees. It's the coolest we've run so far, and I confirm the wind has changed. Headwind in the Snake now, tailwind into turn 12, 16. Slightly different balance expected.
Yes, we saw that wind turn pretty much 180 yesterday from the start of the day. The corners that his engineer was just talking about, there's a tailwind through the Snake section just after sector 1 that takes you from turn 3 all the way through to turn 8 and 9. And when the wind is behind you through that part, it gets even more tricky to drive with the rear of the car moving around. So that's his engineer saying it has flipped 180 since the start of the day yesterday. So now we're going to experience a bit more grip. A headwind, you effectively, it's traveling through the air faster. That in turn gives you more downforce, and the drivers are happier with the level of grip that they'll have.
Now, got a new graphic this weekend on the left-hand side, as you can see clearly, showing that cars are on an outlap. Now, what that will then refer to is when we go into qualifying, is that we will have a whole series of first run, second run, and so on. And Anthony, the telemetry as well has changed in its appearance.
Yeah, on the right-hand side, you've got the telemetry box, and it's good that you can see the kilometers an hour for those Europeans out there, and then the miles an hour at the bottom as well. So it's really interesting. We were watching this yesterday in the practice sessions to see what minimum speed they're all carrying through the corners. And then you've got the throttle trace you see in green on the right-hand side, just creeps up as you get onto the main straight. But it's still pretty slow speed stuff at the moment. You can see they're weaving around even in the straight line to try and generate some temperature. And actually, interestingly there, you saw the red marker go down. That's the brake pressure. So he had the throttle on and the brakes at the same time, just trying to build some brake energy. And therefore, the braking energy goes into the air inside the tyres and effectively heats the tyre as well.
Graham, of course, our Canadian viewers will also understand the kilometres an hour bit.
Well, yes, indeed, the what is a kilometre debate rages on the internet. Car 88, the Mustang of Stefano Gattuso, is under investigation, pit lane speeding. Also warning from race control that cutting turn 6 might result in violation of Appendix L, Chapter 4, Article 2C, blah, blah, blah. It's all about gravel on track. It's cutting that corner will bring gravel on the track. We saw it, Anthony, in free practice 2 yesterday. It was absolutely caked it to the point where we had to debate whether or not they would have to stop the session for clean.
Yeah, it's faster to cut the inside of the corner, and I think as well, on top of it, kicking gravel up on the circuit, it's a track limits violation, which unfortunately, this circuit, as good as it is a continuous problem when it comes to track limits. So that's something that we'll look out for in this session, but most importantly in qualifying. If any driver dips all 4 wheels over any white line at any part around the track in qualifying, you will have your lap time deleted. Same kind of rules as Formula 1 have when they come here.
See, my problem with that is cutting turn 6 may result. So somebody's going to have to make a subjective decision on how much gravel any particular car has brought onto the track at any particular time. And also, the consequence of that is, what's the penalty then? If you are judged to have cut it too much and brought too much gravel on, what's the penalty? So that's why I didn't mention that, because that's really unclear.
The clear part of it is, don't do it.
Indeed. Okay, so on board, starting to build up a little bit of speed. Mathieu Jaminet, the fast man at the moment, ahead of Harry Tinknell in the 007 Aston. Kamui Kobayashi, third fastest, briefly in the number 7 Toyota. Well, let's catch up with our LMGT3 field. Shea Adam already has her first victim of the morning. We'll join her.
Charlie Eastwood is a driver who knows what it takes to win here at Circuit of the Americas, having done it back in 2019. Charlie, different team this year, different feel, but with a Corvette, how much is that American pride driving all of the TF Sport to try and get a win?
Yeah, I mean, when it's a home event for the manufacturer, it's always a big part, and adds a little bit of pressure, but not a lot. We still have to just do our side of things. It's going well. We seem pretty strong. track temp today has obviously changed a lot from yesterday, and we're normally a lot better when it's very hot. So interested to see how we sort of pan out today, but we're definitely in the ballpark.
How helpful is it to have two cars to get the data from, especially when your car is stronger in the heat, and now the heat seems to be dissipating?
Yeah, it's good. Like, we end up starting slightly different nearly at every event just to get an understanding, and then we end up getting a lot closer. So the setups are nearly closely identical by now, and it's now, you know, it's 1 hour into the race, and it's just time to execute so that we're in the best spot possible starting the race.
How grateful are you that the weather changed a bit more to be what it's going to be like tomorrow, since your last driving is going to be at the checkered flag of this session?
Yeah, I mean, if it cooled down tomorrow, then it's up to the team to just readjust all of your pressures and temperatures and things, but obviously TF are well versed on all of that stuff by now, so yeah, let's see. We'll get a few laps in sort of 20 minutes or so and see what the track feels like.
Good luck this weekend, Charlie.
Thank you.
And it's not just Charlie warming up for today's activity, the crew is actually warming up behind him too.
Well, there is Charlie Eastwood's car, the 81 machine. Tom Van Rompuy shares that car with him. Charlie didn't win here in World Endurance in 2019. That was an IMSA round. IMSA haven't raced here in the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Some great shots there of Eastwood's car, the number 81 TF Sport with Rui Andrade at the wheel, and just, you can see, you got those, the diamond-shaped orange curbs through that snake section, and it's important not to hit those. But Rui's actually going further than that and dipping a wheel on the other side of it, treating it like a speed bump that you can just drive over in the middle of the car. And it's great to see they're just exploiting what you can or can't do around this track, and that's where the lap time is. So, yeah, great slow-mo shots of what he's doing there. And other drivers watch that, they'll copy that as well. Yeah, definite lap time to be found in that section.
On board with Harry Tinkler in the Aston Martin. Now, this is the beginning of a very busy month for Le Mans Series races. We've got the 6 hours, the Lone Star Le Mans rain on the windscreen. Good spot by Anthony Davidson. That's going to make the understeer even more dramatic in this car. We're here this weekend. Next weekend at Silverstone for 4 hours European Le Mans Series. And the weekend, 2 weekends after that, we're in Fuji in Japan. Now, those of you who joined us for Le Mans will probably remember that we had Sir Chris Hoy in the booth. And he was talking about this weekend, an event he's running in Glasgow in Scotland, the Tour de Four. And this is a charity bike ride to raise money for prostate cancer. Chris Hoy, multiple Olympic champion, has been diagnosed with terminal prostate cancer. A car racing champion in the Le Mans Series as well. And if you are at Silverstone next weekend, if you're watching in the UK or nearby, if you go to the European Le Mans Series race, there is also a charity run on Saturday evening to help raise funds for that. So we wish Chris Hoy and everybody who's cycling in Glasgow, well, good weather. I'm not sure that's guaranteed this weekend at home, but a huge turnout hopefully for Tour de Four, and that is tomorrow, Sunday the 7th. So if you're anywhere in southern eastern Scotland or the borders, head over to that please as well. So session has been declared wet. Anthony, what's the relevance of that? They can see that there are drops of rain on the windscreen, they know it's wet.
It just opens up the chance to put the wet tyre on if you need to, if you feel like it's necessary. Obviously, it's not at the moment, but that's why you'll be seeing the rain lights flashing, because as soon as the track's declared wet, you'll then need to put the right mode in the car, and that activates the rain lights.
Nice job, Harry. Nice job. I think probably too wet to do another one, but you have got time for a prep and a slow down. Prepping to go again, but I think it's going to be too bad. But session's been declared wet. We need lights in low mode, please.
So that came immediately after Harry Tinkler put the Aston Martin briefed into the top of timing and scoring. It's shuffled back now down to 4th quickest, but the times have been coming quickly. They'll tail off a little if this rain remains like this. At the moment, it's last year's winning car, and Davidson, the 83 AF Corsa Ferrari of Robert Kubica, sits at the top. It's a 1:51.967. It's a little bit more to come in terms of pace of this track, but the pace is very even indeed with what is quite a large top group.
Yeah, speaking to some of the drivers in the paddock on the way here to the commentary box, and I asked who they felt looked quick or not, and many drivers were in agreement that the Ferrari seems to be a lot faster than it was in Brazil last time out, so they seem to be the ones to beat. But I also asked them about the Aston Martin's performance, and they said, yeah, it's genuinely getting stronger, but mostly on the first lap performance. The race pace seems to drop slightly more, and we saw the similar kind of thing for them, to be fair, in Brazil as well. So yeah, Aston's, they're getting used to the car. I think a lot of the performance is coming from the systems more than anything else, and understanding more of the software side of the car, and the performance that can bring actually is pretty effective.
And you can see,
look at this.
Ooh.
Which way do you go under the braking?
Yeah.
We did see a lock up there earlier on, but yeah, Kubica just sort of meandering in the middle of the track there under the braking zone, not pushing on, and you just don't know where to go. Do you, don't you? So that was Estra, I think, getting a bit irate on the exit.
We saw yesterday, didn't we, as we said in the booth watching some in-car footage, Kevin Estra aboard what looked like a very wild number 6 Porsche 963 indeed under braking, and it's okay, albeit with a bit of assistance from ahead there with Robert Kubica. Didn't look particularly comfortable there either.
No, the Porsche, I think, was struggling a little bit more yesterday than most, and it looked like to me more the rear end of the car that was the biggest problem. But going back to what other drivers were saying about teams they're expecting to be quick here, BMW kept getting mentioned as well, so they're one to watch out for this session, and that is turn 6. That's the moment we've been talking about, and you can see how much dust gets kicked up on the apex of that corner. Something I've never seen before of that particular one. So yeah, we'll watch out for this. Yeah, look at how the dust, and then how badly it affects the car. You see, as soon as Kobayashi goes over that dust, how he lost control momentarily. So yeah, there it goes. Look at that.
See, the dust was in the air, but it was the gravel that was on the track that had come up with the dust, I think, is what he skidded on. Now then, last week, 2 weekends ago, I was at Silverstone at the Historic Festival. 33 hours of live commentary over the weekend, some of which involved our first guest of the weekend. Delighted to welcome back into the booth General Manager of Circuit Americas, Andy Soucek, a race winner in a Lancia Martini Group C car 2 weeks ago. How was that?
That was awesome. That was absolutely amazing. You can imagine what it feels to drive a car from, I think it's the year after I was born, so imagine. It was a lot of fun, as you can imagine, and the race was great. It was great to be back at Silverstone, and yeah, happy to be here with you guys as well during this session at Circuit of the Americas.
So, I mean, it's great for us to come back here again. What's the feeling in the region and in the US generally about having World Championship racing here?
I mean, this is our second year ever since, let's say, we know the category as a hypercar category with the LMDH cars and the hypercars. With so many manufacturers involved, you can clearly see there is a step up from when WEC used to come here. And that was obviously before my management, but I have to say that for me it is an absolute honor and pleasure to have the World Endurance Championship at our home track. And I think the American fans will definitely enjoy one more year of great racing. Seeing all these guys, you know, obviously Robert, who won here last year, and I've raced with him my whole entire career, and seeing him victorious here, but also in Le Mans, has been an incredible achievement. And for those who follow motorsports, I think it is such a joy to see these cars, and I'm hoping with the weather now, the way it looks, a bit more overcast, cloudy, and probably the temperatures dropping a little bit today and tomorrow, we're going to have a lot of walk-ups. So I'm very excited about seeing the fans here.
Andy, the fans arriving here this weekend have noticed there's huge changes on the way to the skyline here at Circuit of the Americas. A lot of work going on to make this more of a destination. What can you tell us about what's coming and how long that's going to take?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is becoming a family destination, I would say. The racetrack was here 12 years ago, but if you look around this window, for instance, you see the big tilt roller coaster. One of a kind, actually. It's a 90-degree roller coaster that drops you and connects sort of in the air. So I'm not so excited to ride it myself. I think I'm going to stick to racing, but there's a lot of thrill seekers in the US that love amusement parks and theme parks. So next year is going to be open, and we're excited. We have the new car condos at Turn 11. I don't know if you had a chance to walk it or see it. If not, I'm more than happy to take you around. We've got the karting track, we've got the amusement park, you know, we've got a massive storage building that is being built, a big parking lot that we're building just to make the coexistence work, because you imagine you have the major events here with so many parking spots needed, and on top of that you're adding an amusement park with more needs for parking, so working on that.
So trouble down at turn 6. That was Stoffel van Dorn in trouble. Also,
no, that was James
it just
Cottingham,
James? It was wrong caption.
Yeah.
So James Cottingham having a half rotation.
And it's always been such a challenging circuit. We were saying that, Andy, before you came into the commentary box. One that I've always enjoyed driving. I'm sure you have as well, and still do. So you've talked about the improvements around the circuit. What about the circuit itself? How is that in terms of its management, and are there any plans in the future?
We have repaved, Anthony, 82% of the track in the past two years. So you can imagine it takes a while to do, you know, the 2 straight lines. We've done the S's ever since you came back last year. So I've had a lot of drivers. Sebastian Buemi called me like during the track walk, and he was like, hey, tell me what is different from last year, because I want to know sort of from a bump perspective. As you know, turn 3 and 4, there was a pretty big bump on the apex of the turn. You've got great pictures where you see the sparks from last year. I don't believe that's going to be the case this year. We've flattened those areas more for safety than anything else. But now the track is, I would say, at its best since it was built. So I believe that improvement, along with, you know, Wi-Fi capabilities, fiber, you know, a lot of things that are more sort of on the IT end, not so much my wheelhouse, have improved our track. And you know, as you say, from a driving perspective, I did race here in GT World Challenge in 18 and 19, and it's definitely my favorite track in the US, and it's always a pleasure to drive it.
All right, well, Andy, look, long may it continue. Great to see so much investment going into race circuits, and it is absolutely a driver's favourite, a fan favourite as well. So thanks very much for bringing us back. We look forward to having a great race weekend here.
And thanks as well for the great welcome we always get here at COTA. It's always been one of the ones that the endurance racing family loves to come here, because it's all smiles.
I think I'm Spanish, as you know, and to come here 3 years ago and find myself with a community of friends and, you know, people that I really truly enjoy being around. It took me very, you know, short period of time to have a great community, and I think that's the spirit of Texas and Austin, is that everybody is welcome, even if you're a foreigner. So you guys, this is your home. My office is right around the corner. There is coffee. Feel free to knock on the door. We're in.
All right, donuts
Thanks,
too.
Andy.
All right, Andy Soucek, General Manager of Circuit Americas. What a place to make your living. It really is fantastic. I was watching a little clip actually with Max Verstappen yesterday. His 2 favourite tracks, Spa-Francorchamps, probably no surprise, COTA.
Yep.
It is, and actually ahead of Suzuka, which is, because everybody quotes Suzuka because it's such a flowing, fast, edgy challenge, you know, the same as Spa. But this place is an old school track for a new track, isn't it?
Well, you know, Suzuka is obviously great. It's one of my personal favourites, absolutely. But there's something about this track, because as Andy was saying, you know, it takes a while before you get to know every inch of a circuit, and you need to race multiple times. Maybe you need different categories as well before you truly understand the idiosyncrasies of a circuit like this. And I think what really stands out with this one is how slow speed Sector 3 is. And that brings a whole new challenge to this high-speed circuit around the rest of it. It's a good mix.
GT3 class last year. Alex, back at Circuit of the Americas, your first Super Cup win came here back in 2015, then the win last year. Do you think maybe this could be the site of the first hypercar win for the Aston Martin?
Oh, those are some big words. I wouldn't dare to say that out loud, but obviously it feels good to be back here. The team is on a roll. I mean, it is such an electric energy inside the box. Everybody's so motivated, so locked in, and everybody's just excelling at their job. So I just feel so lucky, to be honest, to just be part of this organization, and to have a special car like the Valkyrie. It just feels really, really cool to be driving it around a cool track like the Circuit of the Americas.
It was a great job yesterday in practice. Unfortunately, the car has just slowed. It's almost at a stop out on the circuit right now. What are you guys expecting with the cooler conditions? Will the car be as strong?
It's a good question. Obviously, it's a new car, right? So it's in the first year of the car. The summer break is really helpful for us because we've got an entire month and a half to go through, you know, the loads and incredibly high amounts of data that we have gathered throughout the season, analyze, optimize everything, the software, all the small details that make such a big difference in such a competitive championship. So there's still a lot of unknowns. Obviously, yesterday was a great day for us, but as we just saw, everything can change very quickly here in the FIA WEC Championship. So still very much focused on the job at hand, and focus on trying to optimize the car that we have this afternoon for quali.
Well, good luck continuing on the upward trajectory of the car. I'll stay here and see if we can't figure out what's wrong with it right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody.
All right, well, 009 creeping back into the pit lane. I think we had something radio-wise from them, so we'll see what happens. Actually, and this is sort of referring back to what you were talking about, Anthony, seeing that the car now starting working on the improvement in the systems and so on else. This car went out on old tyres, 007 went out on new tyres, so they're no longer just trying to hopefully get it to operate. They're now looking at really starting to dig down into what makes the car work properly, and that's a good sign. That's a sign of a team that's confident that they've got the fundamental actually running the car, and now they are really starting to dig in for performance.
Yeah, most of the time it looks like they are starting to focus more towards performance of the car rather than just making it from A to B, which is obviously the first challenge for any new team running a new car. But I don't think that was planned by any stretch of the imagination, how slow that in-lap was just then for 009. Albeit on the old tyres, they're down there in P11. Compared to the sister car that's further up in P4, I think the last time I checked.
Yeah.
No, P6 now, they've dropped down further. But yeah, that in-lap was I think not a scheduled kind of in-lap. So no, hopefully there's not a long-lasting technical problem going on there.
They're power cycling through the car, actually, so that was what was going on there. Yes, I'm not sure whether it was an outlap or not. Looking at our LMGT3 class, Graham.
No, actually, I was just going to mention not the birthday present that Marco Sorensen would want. 35 years old today, Marco. So just waiting to hear from the Harder Racing Aston Martin squad as to what the issue is for the car. So as we watch that's the 33 car, isn't it? It's being hustled around.
New helmet for Ben Keating this
Fabulous
weekend.
New helmet.
Same livery, but sparkly. He's got metal flake paint on it. So there is Johnny Edgar aboard that 33 car. Lynn Herdanius, though, the fastest car in LMGT3 is the 61 Mercedes. You know, that's one of the joys of endurance racing, is all the cars are different. The idea of trying to balance a front engine, mid-engine, rear engine car, you know, V8, V6 and all the others, is that you try and get them to produce effectively the same lap time. How they do it is very different indeed, though, and so some circuits will suit one car and other circuits will hopefully suit a different car. So it's good to see Mercedes and again McLaren and Aston Martin up towards the top of the pile with the Ferraris that have been pretty much there all season long on almost every track.
Yeah, we've seen the Ferraris certainly towards the end of last season coming back into their own. They had a pretty difficult start to the LMGT3 era, but then started to show their depth of ability in what is very much a BOP formula. But yeah, Corvettes too. We saw these cars at the sharp end of the early part of the season. They're now battling to stay there. There's going to be ebb and flow, as there always is in a balanced performance formula, with cars that are so different, on circuits that are so different, and with this Pro-Am formula.
Good fun riding on board with Johnny Edgar there through the final corner. I think the rain is just starting to affect them now. You see the windscreen wiper on the Mustang as well. They're currently running in P5. You can see on the side of the car, the car number 88. Nice graphics that we have now on the side. And yeah, the drivers, I think now just starting to feel this rain coming down. You can survive for a certain amount of time with droplets coming on the windscreen until I think we're now at the stage where the drivers are starting to lose a bit of grip from it.
We were looking at speeds yesterday, Anthony, when we were watching free practice 2, minimum speeds particularly, and you noticed how close the minimum speed of a GT3 car and a hypercar is, you know, within 1 mile an hour of each other. And you could see that there with the Mustang and the 99 Proton Porsche. Basically, the Porsche comes and then isn't any quicker in the corner.
Look at that. I mean, that's track limits, by the way. Your 4 wheels over the white line. But you look at the energy going through the tyres as well. I love watching the sidewalls, how much they're really starting to bulge and move around. And you can see once again there, So, and that's what I was talking about before, how you avoid that orange curve by placing the middle of the car right over it.
Unfortunately, that was track limits on 2 consecutive
Again, I know,
corners.
yeah, he's going to really regret that being in super slow motion, although it's lovely to watch from our side.
It's an extraordinary collection, isn't it, these days in the FIA World Endurance Championship, all the different marks up and down the order in both classes, LMGT3 here with the Ford Mustang and, of course, in Hypercar. But you know what? We're not done yet. Delighted to be joined, next guest at the booth, by Cyril Abiteboul from Genesis Magma Racing. And Cyril, you're coming next year with 2 cars to add to this astonishing show. Before we get to Cyril, though, we're going to listen to Valentino Rossi aboard the 46 BMW.
Thanks, sir. It's basically on the gas.
Okay, copy, understood.
Okay. Right, well, let's speak to Cyril. Cyril, we've seen each other at the European Le Mans Series this year. Your trajectory program has seen some real success with some emerging and established talent. Where exactly are we with the fabulous-looking GMR 001? Just seen the first proper track testing.
Yeah, it's looking good, and I think it's sounding good also. It is that the feedback that we have received is that engine is providing a great sound. So where are we? I mean, it's start of an intensive testing program. So far, it's been nothing but hitting the milestone spot on time, in particular engine fire-up, car delivery by Horeca, our chassis partner, and starting the test back earlier in August, and I think it was 18th of August that we started that intensive program. So that's where we are. We are testing more or less every other week, sometimes in Horeca, sometimes in Portimao, later we'll be in Magicourt. So it's busy, it's early days, but so far it's going quite smoothly. You know, it's no surprise that Horeca is a great chassis builder, and the car looking great.
A bit better than the number 60 car at the moment. There seems to have had a bit of a rotation, but Andrew Gilbert, I'm sure, will get it back on track quickly, and indeed does so. You've got this fabulous trajectory program that is there, I think, helping your team, as we see just exactly what befell luckless Andrew Gilbert there. That is helping to bring your support crew up to speed, correct? And there's some of the guys...
Yeah, because we've made a decision, which is to really race the car ourselves. I mean, we know that there are different setups that are always possible in endurance racing, but for different reasons, and because we see that as the start of a long-term journey, we want to progressively be fully in charge, fully in control of the program and of the technology. We think there is nothing better than being exposed to the racing for the good and for the bad. So we have no choice but to build the skills, to build the knowledge, and we are doing that indeed thanks to a platform, which is an opportunity to give a chance to young drivers or to emerging talents. It's one part of the program. The other part, indeed, is to provide a platform for our staff to transition from rally racing, where we've been involved in the last 12 years, into circuit racing and endurance racing.
With a troubled Ford LMGT3 car, flaming up on the restart for one of the McLarens, the 59 car.
That's Sebastian Boe on board, and it looks again like probably exactly what happened to Andrew Gilbert is that the track is just a little bit more greasy than they were expecting.
Yeah, let's see what just happened here to Sebastian on the curbs. And there was not enough grip there as they rounded the final turn. So great results in that LMP2 program for Danny Ucadella, for Jamie Chadwick, and for the extraordinary young talent that is Mathis Joubert. I'm not going to ask you a terribly searching question, but you must have been impressed by, well, it was a class win and then an overall win in the first 2 races. Yep. He's a serious talent.
He is absolutely. I think he's coming also for a very well-regarded Porsche program. I think the Porsche Carrera Cup and Super Cup is actually a very good way for the drivers to learn what they need to be knowing in order to make it to Hypercar, in particular with the current regulation. So we really look at him very, very highly. And obviously, we need to be a bit more patient to see how this is going to translate for our program. We are yet to announce other drivers other than Pipo Derani and André Lotterer, who are already announced. But clearly, through the trajectory program and also through all the discussion that we are having, including this weekend, it's fair to say that we've got plenty of opportunities. We see that the program is attracting people. I think what the choices that we've made, in particular with Horeca, probably also with the location where we establish our racing base in Paul Ricard, right near to the track, are probably the signs that we are serious about this program and the motivation of the group that's behind.
we're not going to ask you to make any announcements today, but I know all the fans watching trackside and all of them listening in and looking in, for instance, on the WEC Discord channel that lit up when we told them you were going to be in the booth. When can we expect to hear more about the driver squad?
Oh, right on time, so probably before Qatar, before the first race.
Cyril, good luck with what comes next. It's an intensive testing program with a brand new package for a brand new team. 2 cars for the World Endurance Championship next year, and then 2 cars to come for IMSA the following year, correct?
That's the plan, obviously. IMSA, maybe, I mean, we are still looking into the exact entry of timing of IMSA, but that's absolutely the plan.
Fantastic. Thanks for taking the time on what I know has been a very busy weekend for you and your team, and good luck with testing to come.
Yeah, and enjoy the rain, because it might be the same in Silverstone next week for European Le Mans Series as well. So, exciting times. Genesis arriving, of course. Ford also coming in 2027 as well.
With McLaren.
With McLaren as well, and not the only manufacturers that are looking at things.
No.
And, OK, so let's get back to where we are. Yafei, AF Course's number 83 Ferrari, still the top of the pile. Number 50 Ferrari, second quickest, but good speed being shown by Alpine and by Cadillac as well. And the Aston Martins still 6th fastest lap.
Right on board Will Stevens there. You see the drinks tubes just slightly leaking there, but I think it's when he's going in the braking zone, but not a massive problem.
Yeah, because there's nothing like electronics right underneath there, is there?
They can actually have it. When it rains heavily, hopefully we won't see that over this weekend, but there's a chance we will on Sunday. You do get water come into these cars. They're not completely watertight, so it's designed to cope with a bit of water.
Those nighttime shots at Le Mans, do you remember we're behind the safety car with that water trickling in every single gap around doors and down windscreens, and yeah.
Bespoke racing cars. They're not built like your fancy road cars for plushness. So, but yeah, Will Stevens driving at the moment, and the Cadillac obviously winners of the last race in Brazil. Car looking pretty sweet at the moment. Car number 38 up there with Jenson Button setting the fastest lap in that car. P4. Will Stevens haven't got the tyre graphics here at the moment, but I would assume car 12 is on slightly older tyres. And you can see also on that graphic on your left-hand side of the screen, towards the right-hand side of that graphic, you see the 3 different sectors. Most of them, pretty much all of them actually, in yellow. So nobody's setting even a personal best at this time, which you'd, on older tyres and the bit of rain that we've got coming down, you'd assume that's...
Apart from Paul Di Resta in 17th.
Yeah, as I said.
That's possibly a low bar.
Yeah, but you see, so on the right-hand side, you've got now your telemetry box up there, 49 miles an hour mid-corner through the slowest corner on the track.
Too much rear locking when I first hit the brakes.
Now both Jenson and Will are on new tyres at the beginning of the session, but they haven't changed them, so they're still on the same set. So 7:14 laps Will's done on his set, and I think the same for Jenson as well.
Just avoiding the curb there, actually, that spun around, almost spun around car 33 with Edgar. When I referred to his onboard we saw before, the rain started falling down even more so, and then the McLaren spin, car number, what was it, 59, sorry, earlier on with Bode. And so it's Jenson not using that serrated curb now, which will hold naturally a bit more water than the track itself. So we look down towards the garage at Iron Dames, Michelle Gatting. Where are they in the order?
5th.
Yeah, okay.
Running 5th.
And here's their car now on screen. Yeah, 5th. You see on the side of the car. So, yeah, they're having a bit more of a difficult season this time around, I feel, compared to last year. They were consistent front runners last year, and that's quite been the case this time.
Great moment, by the way, Anthony, to also say we've seen, and you're seeing on screen right now, the developments we're bringing to the championship with the graphics. Watch potentially for some more developments with those screens as well, because there's some thought being given to how helpful we can be, particularly to fans coming trackside, which is an increasingly important part of the audience because more people are coming. It's as simple as that. And
oh, you mean the car's light panel graphic, not the graphics we have on the left-hand side of the screen?
Completely right.
Which have also been improved. We had a revamp last time out in Brazil, and that continues to improve as well.
And actually, some fan feedback as well has been fed into that. What we don't see, or what I didn't notice before, is that where it has that position on the car, when they used to go past the pit lane, it used to show what their fuel level was, not where they were in the race. That's now going to be changed so that you can still see where they are in the race if you are facing the pits.
Sheldon van der Linde yesterday at Circuit of the Americas looked really good for the number 20 BMW. Today, the pace is a little bit different. How tricky is it with the amount of rain falling out there to know how good the traction is?
Yeah, it's very difficult. You don't really know if it's wet or not because of the humidity and the heat. It's obviously not wet at all, but you don't know. If you see the drops on the windscreen, you think it's risky going in there, and you're just kind of holding it flat out, not knowing what's going to happen. So not a nice feeling, to be honest. I hope it's dry for qualifying. But yeah, we're in the mix. I wouldn't say we're the fastest this weekend, as we showed in FP2. I think everyone else wasn't really doing quali sims yet, but I think we're more or less top 6, top 7. I would be happy with in quali.
What do you need to have a fast race car when we get to tomorrow, though? Because quali car is one thing, race car is completely different.
Yeah, we obviously want to make sure that we can try and do some double stints. It's going to be very hot tomorrow as well. Not as hot as yesterday, which is also happy for us because the tire deck is obviously quite high here. So yeah, we're going to be trying to make a double stint work and then see where it goes from there.
Good luck, Sheldon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, number 20 BMW reporting a little bit of a front axle vibration. It's not actually obviously an axle in the old-fashioned way. It's an independent front suspension, but there you go. Now then, if you are enjoying what you're seeing so far, if you enjoyed what you've seen this season, why not sign up for free to FIAWC.tv? If you do so, not only will you get access to all the full access programs, along with a whole host of other things like our race review highlights, but you can see all the social media clips and all the other little bits and pieces that we shoot that never quite get the chance to make it to air because our races aren't dull, even though they're long. The full access program from Austin, Texas, being filmed this weekend, will be there from the 19th of September. So that'll be the week before we go to Fuji, and it'll be on YouTube a few moments later. A few days later, little spin from Jose Maria Lopez. Pachito back in the number 7 Toyota, and that is a tyre wrecker, that is.
Yeah, standing in for the injured Mike Conway, of course. So I was chatting to Jose earlier on. We've got another replay through the S's to have a look at what Jose was up to. And we've seen how aggressive you can be in a GT car through there. And to the point where you're going off the track for the track limits. This is Jose Maria Lopez's usual car he drives.
Yes.
So they're very different to the Toyota Gazoo Racing Hypercar. And so I bumped into him in the paddock just by chance and said, how is that transition? Going from one to the other. It's not the first time he's had to do that because he raced at Le Mans when Conway injured himself again. But that one is disappointing times for poor old Mike. But and Jose was saying it's super hard. It's, you know, to get used to this transition. See the number 81 there off.
6 again. And by the way, the other quick point before we finish that is 5 minutes stop and go for 21 Ferrari for track limits, and I suspect that is turn 6, and that's why they've been given a 5-minute stop and go.
But, yeah, sorry, so just finishing what I was going to say about Lopez, he said one of the biggest problems is the braking. These cars, the LMGT3 cars, of course, have ABS, anti-lock braking system, so the drivers are used to just mashing the brake pedal for all it's worth in corners like this one coming up here at the end of this back straight turn 12. You're hard on that brake pedal and you let the system do its thing. He said the first couple of laps I did in the Hypercar coming back here yesterday, immediately locked up both front axle, both front wheels, and just had a huge smoky lockup. Now we've seen him spin in the S's. It's not easy flip-flopping consistently between two very different categories of racing.
Now, the bad news for the Corvette team, 81, we haven't talked about it much. We saw it right at the beginning of the session. That was Rui Andrade on an outlap. It has only done 4 laps.
Yeah.
So it came out, did a flying lap, went back into the garage, and this is the first of its moment it's reappeared.
And that car trouble yesterday, that car, I think, missed FP2, I want to say. I think that car had problems at the end of FP1, so it's not been an easy weekend so far for the 81 crew. This comes, by the way, at a point where TF Sport expanding their efforts with the Corvettes, 2 new cars on a boat right now on the way to the UK. that will allow them to bring 2 Corvettes, they hope, subject to being accepted, to the Asian Le Mans Series this year for the first time.
That'll be super cool. The 81 car is having cooling issues, so they believe, after a little rebuild yesterday, it's got an airlock in the system. Norman Nato waiting to take over at Cadillac. And have we seen a driver change here in the 83 car? Yeah, Yafei, not sure. Full course yellow means that everybody has to come down to 80 kilometers an hour. And it's an opportunity for everybody to come into the pit lane, refuel. See the graphics here on the door, the counter, how long the car has been stationary and up in the air, and also that will flip-flop with there you go, the energy graphic as well. Now, total energy in the LMGT3 class is internal combustion engine fuel. In Hypercar, doesn't have to be. It's the total amount of energy, whether you're doing internal combustion engine, a hybrid electric system, pedals, feet through the floor like the Flintstones, however you generate your energy, that's the total amount that's shown.
Yeah, in the Hypercar, it's that combination of electrical energy and the petrol, the 100% sustainable fuel, by the way, in all cars in the World Endurance Championship. But car 81, seeing it getting picked up by the crane on track now, only managed 12 laps yesterday in FP2. And finished 12th in the standings at the same time. So there's clearly something. I don't know if it's the same problem, but lots of continuous problems in that side of the garage.
I think the late red flag for FP1 was caused by a problem for the 81, and then it came out late in the session for FP2.
So just put that into context, most other cars were in the high 30s in terms of laps, total laps achieved.
Yeah, they had a cooling problem yesterday. Rui Andrade actually spun on fluid from his own cooling system. Now
there's that slow-mo of Lopez's spin, and you could see how you got that chain reaction of one corner, you sliding one way, and then immediately that you get that transfer, that weight transfer with the inertia of these cars. They're big, heavy cars, these hypercars now, over a ton in curb weight. So as soon as you get one slide one way, that energy then catches up and you get that pendulum effect. That's what's spinning around, going the other way. And looking back at Lopez now, continues to circulate, albeit under the full course yellow, so the drivers have to press the button on the steering wheel, the full course yellow button, which limits the car's speed to that 80 kph.
But also we think that we have too much rear locking and big brakings, turn 1, 11, 12. So yeah, we would normally do an adjust for that. You can do a brake balance global forward or driver adjust. Also, I think Anaeroba 3.1 would be okay. Up to you.
They can also change the anti-roll bar settings in these cars, both front and rear anti-roll bars. So that's a suggestion there from his engineer.
The broiling clouds overhead. Of course, that's speeded up through the next hour or whatever, but Robert Kubica and the AF Corsa team looking at weather radar. Weather is coming in, isn't it? That did not look like there was less rain on the way, rather that there might be more, but there's a few hours until we go qualifying.
Well, we've just got, 16.5 minutes of this session, so whether or not we'll see any further weather affecting it. Still led, by the way, by the 83 AF Corsa Ferrari, a 1:51.967, the best time of the session so far, just under 2/10 clear of the first of the two factory Ferraris. The 50 car, Antonio Fuoco is out on board that car at the moment. Then it's the first non-Ferrari, it's the Alpine number 35. Paul-Luc Chatin is on an outlap right now aboard that car. Cadillac have the 38 car, fourth quickest in the session, and then rounding out the top five before the 007 Aston Martin, sixth quickest, is the third of the Ferraris. In the LMGT3 class, it is the number 87 Acodis ASB Lexus from the Iron Link 61 AMG. Vista AF Corsa's 21 Ferrari, which is in the midst of that 5-minute stop and hold. Then the first of the McLarens, rounding up the top four, it's the 95 McLaren, Rino Sato at the wheel of that car.
Now, only one car.
We will remove full course yellow at 11:45.00 in 30 seconds.
Only one car in the top 10 in Hypercar has actually done anything than keep the tyres on they started the session with, and that is the number 20 BMW, trying to cure that imbalance they had.
We will remove full course yellow in less than 15 seconds.
So there's not much qualifying simulation going on at the moment here.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow removed.
Well, cars back up to speed, back on the green flag racing, and I think our final guest of this session, Ryan Mitchell from Hertz. Huge presence here through what I'm going to ask you, but I'm sure you'll be delighted with the Cadillac Hertz Team COTA effort so far this year. You come to your home race with a victory on the board.
Yes, sir. We are very excited. This has been such a great partnership for us this past, the full year with Cadillac and the past couple years with COTA. Just a great partnership, great organizations we love to associate ourselves with. And we have a great backdrop of one of the best racetracks in the country. And we're so excited to be here. And we are doing something special today to get fans excited, to bring our Hertz Gold Plus Rewards members, to get them to taste a little bit of the action, to go in our inaugural gold karting series.
Now this is effectively what used to be part of Lot A, which is now an increasingly impressive karting facility, so the fans can go and take part in this.
They can, absolutely. So we had a sweepstakes over the last few weeks. 72 drivers are going to be able to compete to win. They're each represented by one of the Hertz Team COTA drivers, Cadillac Hertz Team COTA drivers, as well as Tom Brady, who's a Hertz spokesperson. They'll be representing them and competing very hard. And then we also have an open track time from 3 to 6. So anybody that's here, they just have to become a Hertz Gold Plus Reward member. It's a free program, and they can sign up. They can sign up right on spot.
Well, there's going to be thousands of people here, I'm sure, that would like to get behind the wheel. Before we get into more of that, though, car rental, huge global brand, massively competitive marketplace. Tell us what is bringing you to endurance racing, is keeping you in endurance racing.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a lot of factors, quite honestly. We are a global brand. We're proud of that global brand, and the growth that motorsport and especially WEC has seen over the last few years. We want to be a part of that, right? It gives us tailwind to do what we want to do. We're 8 races around the world. We have presence in the majority of those, and so that's been terrific. I think additionally, it's precision, it's performance, it's teamwork, it's all the things that we do on a daily basis for our customers that our Cadillac Hertz Team COTA drivers and mechanics are doing to make sure that they're performing at their best. It's the same thing. There's a lot of synergies in both those sides.
US-based company, now a US factory team. After two seasons of success with Porsche as a privateer team, it must make you proud that the investment that you guys have made in that COTA organisation has paid off with this new deal for 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Cadillac, as you can imagine, we have a lot of Cadillacs and General Motor vehicles in our fleet. We're very proud of that association. They've been terrific partners on the Cadillac racing side to promote, to get word out to their dealer network and to all the Cadillac fans around the world. And if they want to try and rent cars, they can come and rent a Cadillac from Hertz. So there's a lot of overlap and synergy there, like you mentioned. And we're just proud to be associated with such a top-tier team.
Final question from me, and it's about that business-to-business aspect of it. We see some of your VIP guests here at all the races. There's got to be good return on investment of that. Would this be something you recommend to other corporates looking at other teams and other brands?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, I think we do have a good mix of B2C and B2B. We provide rental car services around the world, and getting a chance to spend 5, 6, 7 hours with these customers, especially those ones that are fanatical race fans, we give them an experience, a behind-the-scene experience they can't ever do on their own. And they're very appreciative, and it just continues to strengthen what we do from a partnership standpoint.
Look, we love the way that COTA make them go, we love the way that Cadillac make them sound, and we love the way that Hertz make them look. Keep more power to your elbow, Ryan, and thanks very much for that.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the opportunity, and let's go. We'll get a Cadillac Hertz Team COTA win this weekend.
So remember, if you're here at the track, get down to the kart circuit. It's in Lot A, the front of the circuit. Sign up for the Hertz program, and you can get behind the wheel and get involved in this.
All right, well, let's hope it's not too wet for our karters. They're kind of exposed out there. Just back out to the pit lane, Jose Maria Lopez, or back into the pit lane, Jose Maria Lopez. I thought he'd just come out and gone back in. Hasn't changed tyres yet on that car, although that is one of the cars that did start on a new set of tyres, did how many laps? 4 laps on that, and then went on to a set of old tyres. 007 is off, and that is Tom Gamble. Where's that, Anthony? Oh, okay, down in the S's, in the snake.
And a victim of the turn 6 dust, gravel, and almost ends up in the gravel on the exit himself. Now, can he get that going? Because he's not actually in the gravel there. But this is the moment where, so that's turn 5. And then look, just a cloud of dust. He doesn't know where to go. You can't see the corner anymore. And then you're running over that dust, which has settled on the track itself. And look at that. Something needs to be done, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so,
somebody ahead of him had obviously thrown another lot up, which is why there's that cloud of dust in the air.
Well, it used to be red painted concrete on the inside. Yeah, it is a joke. I mean, there's nothing that he could have done there.
That's his heart rate at 250 and trying to be calm about it without getting himself into trouble with the FIA for language on air.
But yeah, something definitely needs to change, because it has changed since last year. We didn't have this problem last year, and I think what they've done is taken away some of that tarmac on the right-hand side, which used to just be painted red, and drivers were always taking liberties with track limits there, dipping a wheel off circuit on the inside. So I think to stop that, they've dug up or taken away the concrete and put earth there instead. It's been so dry here recently that it's just now just spreading onto the circuit, because drivers are hardwired. Like I said, you've been here many times before. They're hardwired. That is the line you take. You always have dipped the wheel on the inside of that corner to the point where you're on the brink of track limits, but now you're just kicking up dust instead. So I feel like something has to change.
It does feel like
this will be safety car-tastic through the race because of it.
Yeah, for the moment, just that incident, you file it under the not great but not terrible kind of classification, but it could have been so much worse. Just wanted one more quick thing. We're on board now with Milty Jacobsen on board the Peugeot 968. Great to see. I was talking to some of the people behind the Aston Martin Valkyrie effort. We're talking about the future of this program, the passion that's fueling this program, in particular from the guys who've funded the development of this Valkyrie hypercar. And I am told they could not be more delighted with the trajectory of this program. There is going to be much, much more to come. I know it's already a fan favourite. The car's getting quicker and better already, particularly as the balance of performance system welcomes it into its embrace, if you like, as a new car for this season, but more to come from Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's great to see progress, isn't it, with any team. We've seen that with Hertz Team COTA, winners of the last race, not just a victory, a 1-2 as well, really starting to stamp their authority in this championship, and they are second best at the moment to Ferrari in terms of outright pace. I think that's been pretty consistent this year. But in terms of a championship challenger, they're not. It hasn't been the easiest of seasons in terms of getting those results every time out. So that's another area where they can continue to improve. But it's great to see progress, and yeah, the Aston Martin Valkyrie continues to get quicker and more reliable every time out.
Yeah. Some comedians up in race control. Tom Gamble, after that spin on dirt left by somebody else, has been warned for exceeding track limits. That was going off on the grass on the outside.
We barely noticed.
I know. Interesting, actually, you pointed out that little leaking drinks tube in Will Stevens. Now, in the centre, on the driver protection, you can see the water that's collected moving to and fro as he goes through the corners. So it's not just wet outside the car.
I'll tell you, they're going to need every drop of that drink system this race, so they better fix it.
You're not kidding. Actually, humidity now nearly 70%. It was like 23% yesterday.
6 minutes to go in this session. We are seeing some improved times, by the way, in the GT cars. And Marina Sato at the moment on a flying lap at the moment on the 95 McLaren. Let's see what that ends up with.
Able to take the sort of exit curve before turning in on the outside of the circuit there. So the track clearly drying up again now to the point where they can start to use their usual lines. And so Sato improving his time, P5 for now in the McLaren.
Is, however, being told that he needs his rain lights on, which he hasn't got. So P5 an improvement in time, but with a warning from race control that rain lights need to be on the number 95 McLaren.
Marco Sorensen a little bit animated. I was going to ask you, Anthony, almost everybody in Hypercar has used the same set of tyres all the way through the session. We're 5 minutes away. Next time they go out is qualifying. nobody looks like they've done a quali sim run so far, unless it was right at the very beginning of the session.
It could have been right at the beginning, but I've got the virtual energy tank graphic on the screen I'm looking at in front of me, and they all hit the ground running in this session pretty much full tanks. So that's no quali sim. So I'm really surprised that we haven't seen that through this session. So we'll do a bit of digging before qualifying comes along and try and explain that one for you. Usually you'd want the driver to get in the groove, get an understanding of the car balance as well before qualifying comes around. But yeah, the team's obviously feeling like maybe tyre preservation is key here, rather than using or blowing too many of them before that comes around for your allocated sets that you have throughout a weekend. And look at turn 6 once again. This time you got the Alpine car number 35 going off circuit. I think one of the biggest problems there, guys, is that they can't see the apex.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, the grip limitation is that here we are running on board as the Ferrari in front of, yeah, like, where do you go? This time it wasn't visibility that was the problem, but the driver's coming to a point where you think, if I carry on turning in, I'm going to spin, like we saw the Aston Martin suffer with.
See, now they're going to end up getting penalised for track limits running out wide, despite the fact that they've not cut the corner because they're running out wide on the dirt. So this could be a big track limits issue during the course of the race.
This is where you have to be, where race director and stewards have to be sensible and look at it logically, because if you run out wide on the exit of a corner like that, it's clearly a huge loss of lap time to the driver. So I think what we were looking at coming up on our screen is just simply a computer system. That's the difference between the way a computer looks at it and the way a human will look at it, is that, yes, technically he did go off the circuit, it's a track limits violation, but you put some logic to it and you say, well, you shouldn't really look at it because the driver's he's spun around and he's off the track. That's why he's got a track limits moment coming up. But that's the difference between the way the systems in place are handling it. As we see the Porsche number 5 exit that final corner, heading its way up the main straight. Yeah, and this is one vital corner to get right. Out of the 20 corners you have here, the braking into turn 1, when it does come to qualifying in that next session, a critical one to get right. Look at this in slow-mo as well through turn 6 now, and that's the dust that they're kicking up on the inside. Look how much of that will end up on the racing line.
Well, René Rast was saying it's like being in the desert in the number 20 BMW, and he's not wrong. I mean, you can see it. And it's not sand, it's like gravelly, clay, muck. Yeah.
We saw this, didn't we, year 1 at Qatar, and there was a decision taken, despite the fact there was masses of gravel on the track. Decision was taken. But frankly, if they stopped to clear it, it would be the same again in 3 laps' time.
Yeah. You just have to leave it, and there are tram lines going through it, and that's the way it's going to be. And I agree with you entirely. That's exactly what they're going to have to do here, is be pragmatic and say it's what it is, and everybody knows it. It's a bit like the Wall of Champions, you know, that's where it is.
I don't know why they just didn't put say like a sausage curb on the inside of that apex instead of removing the tarmac. I agree it's the right thing to do for track limits, remove the tarmac from the inside, but you could have easily had a sausage curb on the inside to stop cars going too far to the inside.
Or even some big serrations. The problem is it the problem with the sausage curb is that the speed there
but you're
is
going
just
slower in turn
suspension.
I wish they speak to drivers when they make these kind of changes, because you're going slow enough and it's far enough around the corner that if you were to have a high-speed spin, it's another victim of that dust. If you were to have a high-speed spin through turn 4 or 5, you're not going to end up on the inside of turn 6.
No.
And if you did, you're not going to be at speed anyway. So the cars want to go to the outside if you spin in turn 6. So if you had put a sausage curb on the inside of that corner, quite a high one, you could get away with. And it's the same for turn 8 as well.
And the problem here is the cars that are getting into trouble here are not the cars that are doing the track limits.
No.
What they're actually trying to do is take the racing line, and unfortunately, it's full of slippy stuff.
And this is going to be an issue for the hypercar teams. If you're following a GT3 car whose gentleman driver cuts the corner, you're likely to spin out of the lead of the race.
So here's another one. This is turn 8. So this is another notorious corner where you want to cut as much of the corner on the inside as possible to help open up turn 9, which is just about flat out in qualifying. So you need to then take that tighter line through turn 8. The problem is you can then start taking advantage of track limits when you do that. So in a slower speed corner, you can most certainly put a higher curb on the inside.
Lindonenius, by the way, in the number 61 Iron Lynx AMG, briefly went second. Checkered flag is now out, by the way, but lost that lap to track limits. He's going quicker again this time, though. Phil Hansen has taken the flag and will top this session, or will he? Because Alex Riberas is on a quick lap, but the track is utterly filthy at turn 6.
Interesting that the number 77 Proton Competition Mustang is currently the fastest car in LMGT3. Again, great view here. That's what you're going to have to do, is basically thread the eye of a needle through the gravel trap that now extends all the way across turn 6. And the problem is they're digging holes inside the curb, but there's still a lot more dirt there to be dug out.
I feel that there's a solution required there, isn't there? That is not going to look great deep into a 6-hour race.
And I can tell you now, putting cones on the inside or things that you stick into them, that won't last a lap.
No.
And it will damage cars as well. So we've seen this at Le Mans in the past, haven't we? The apex curbs, like they called them the floppies. These floppy cones that they put in there would wreck the cars, and also the cones would just break apart in
Picture
seconds.
of kittens, maybe.
Now here is our fastest car, the 83 yellow Ferrari, and going by him is one of the Alpines. That's car number 35. That's third fastest, currently in the hands of Paul-Luc Chatin, and the number 50 Ferrari. So we've got Ferrari, Alpine, Cadillac, Ferrari, Aston Martin. Now, this, I don't think we're thinking that this reflects what their potential qualifying pace might be, but certainly for Aston Martin, that might be quite entertaining. I'm sure there'll be an awful lot of people in Gaydon and in Wellesbourne who are watching with very great interest the qualifying session to see if the Astons can make it through into Hyperpole on pace.
Just one improvement right at the end of the session came the way of Gregoire Saucy in the 59 United McLaren into the top 10, 9th quickest in that session. But pretty much all of the quick running came early, and I think, gentlemen, that came before the very apparent visual problem we've got at turn 6.
59 just bounced out down to 12th. So that lap,
track limits.
That lap was there, and then again, it wasn't. And track limits, again, is going to be an issue during qualifying. You have to make sure that your lap is fast and legal.
I think that the exciting thing for qualifying is that we have no idea as to who has the speed on new tyres, low fuel, when it comes to the next time we see these cars out on track. So that, I love that jeopardy, and that's what the viewers can look forward to as well.
And of course, in each of our two classes, 18 cars shooting for a place in the top 10 in the first part of qualifying, and then the top 10 cars go through in Hyperpole to decide the top 10 positions on the grid. So the faster drivers get a double shot at it in Hypercar.
It's been a format change, by the way, gentlemen. I think it's worked very well this season. This double bubble Hyperpole efforts, particularly with the LMGT3, with the two drivers getting the opportunity and a showcase for silver talent now in LMGT3.
And home race for Ford Performance. Ford on top of the pile in LMGT3.
Well, it may say Ford Performance on the side of the car now, but it's not going to be for much longer. A wholesale rebrand for Ford, as Ford Racing announced just this week. And so I think we'll be seeing some revised branding on those cars before very much longer.
Don't forget, if you are watching online and you are within a short internal flight of Austin, Texas, there are tickets available for tomorrow. If you want to come and watch Ferrari and Alpine and Cadillac and Aston Martin and Porsche and Toyota and BMW and the rest of them going head-to-head, you can still do so. It is last year's winners who were fastest in the final practice session.
Overall Le Mans winner Phil Hansen finishing the session in the fastest car. It's the last run before qualifying. You're in the car that won the race last year. Is confidence high in this AF course team?
I think we're happy with the car, mind you back. But we, you know, when we look at all the sectors from everyone that everyone did, it's really tight. So you don't really take much from this going into quali. It's all about just refining what you have and making sure we're happy with the car. I think there's still a bit of room for Robert, talking to him. So yeah, it's all about now trying to get the car in the right window for qualifying, and whatever conditions that may be. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to be at the front and feel like we're in the sharp end, which is important at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't take too much in this session into quali, but yeah, that's about it.
How good of a race car do you have in traffic? Because that's going to be a lot more of a feature in the race.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of like gravel across the track, especially in areas like turn 6, which does make it much more difficult to pass GT traffic, because normally that would be an area where you'd be able to go around the outside quite comfortably. And now you're going to be forced to being stuck behind a GT there, perhaps even for the next couple of corners. And if that happens, I think it's going to really concertina the field. And yeah, I think it'll be a very exciting show if that's the case.
Thanks, Phil. Good luck.
No worries. Thank you.
Phil Hansen absolutely right. The 83 Ferrari did not have one purple sector. Fastest car in Sector 1, Aston Martin 007. Fastest car in Sector 2, Cadillac 38. Fastest car in Sector 3, Ferrari 51. And our gravel trap specialist is out to have a look. It's not going to get sorted before qualifying. It's not going to get sorted today. What might possibly be an option is to try and lay concrete and have it go off overnight. It won't be cold, wet and miserable here.
The thing is, as you can see there, it's the sand, it's the gravel.
Just park that there, right where it is. That was sorted out.
And we have seen other tracks in similar circumstances literally gluing it. Literally gluing
They did this at Zandvoort, didn't they? If there's ever going to be a circuit which is full of sand, it's Zandvoort, and they did that in turn 12. So they've resined the gravel trap to stop that very thing happening.
Like those posh driveways.
Like a posh driveway,
like
yeah, resin-bound driveway. That's basically what they did on the apex of turn 12. I'm not sure if the resin technique would work here on the inside. Obviously, it will go off very quickly if you were to use that, faster than concrete will.
Yeah.
There are the times from free practice 3. It's a 1:51.967 for the 83 Ferrari. And fastest driver was Phil Hansen. They are Le Mans winners this year. They were the winners here last year and less than 0.2 of a second ahead of the 50 factory car.
11 cars within a second of the fastest lap. And you've got to be in the top 10 to make it through into the second part of Hypercar, so into Hyperpole. So 009, not far away. Porsche number 5, not quite sure what was wrong with them. They did very few laps, and none of them particularly quick. 15 BMW. I mean, this is one of the things. If one car's in the top 10, both should be. And so, you look in LMGT3, you've got both Fords there, you've got one of the two Mercedes, both the Ferraris, one of the McLarens, both the Porsches, but their sister cars could equally produce that pace, you'd think.
Tellingly, by the way, it's Ben Tuck, silver driver, aboard the number 77. He's going to be in qualifying later if the driver can get it through to Hyperpole. It's going to be Shea Adam down with Ben Tuck right now.
It's a blue oval that's on top of the LMGT3 charts at the end of that final practice session. Ben, you were the last driver in, Ben Tuck, driver of the 77. You were the last one in at the checkered flag. How good do you think this car is going to be for qualifying later?
Yeah, I think we've got the car in a really nice window now. You know, Ford Racing, Proton, Multimatic, and Ben Barker did the lap. So yeah, it was a really nice car to drive. We actually struggled a lot yesterday in FP1. And FP2 we made some improvements, and then now with slightly cooler temperatures today, I think the car's really come alive. So yeah, everyone's doing their job.
How comfy is it behind the wheel of the Ford Mustang when it gets hot out there?
It is tricky. It's mainly with the tires as well. So everyone has the same issue, and Goodyear brought the hard tires for this track, so I think that helps a little bit in the heat. But yeah, it's nicer when it's cooler.
Do you think you have a chance in Hyperpole?
Yeah, let's see.
Excellent. Good luck.
Thank you.
Final thought, qualifying, Hyperpole, gravel. If you don't do your lap on the first lap, there's not going to be a track to do your lap on the second lap.
Well, it just takes one mistake, doesn't it, from any driver, and it's going to mess it up for anybody that follows.
So that was James and Phil Hansen. What was that, a conversation of one falling over the other, do you think?
I think it was, yeah. So it was just a bit of, I think it seemed like an apology coming from
James, yeah. I thought the other way around.
All right, I thought the other way. I didn't quite hear enough of it, but they seem to be fine about it.
Yeah.
Something you obviously don't want when it comes to qualifying.
All right, however, that is it for our current gravel chat, and we will be back with qualifying at 14:45 local, 20 19:45 GMT, 20:45 British Summer Time. For qualifying and hyperpole, we'll see you then.